Ride or Dies. Welcome to kind of a special reading. Yeah, that's what we're going to call this. This was sort of a special request. You know who requested it, so this is for you. I see you. But we're going to do a reading for the upcoming new moon. This is going to be a general reading for all signs. We're all going to be under this same beautiful supermoon in Virgo coming up, I believe, I want to say it's Thursday, the 17th? Is that the 17th? I think it's Thursday. Whatever day it is, it's very, very soon. So this is kind of in honor of this supermoon and how we can best channel these energies, what's coming to us, maybe some things we should be aware of as we're setting our intentions towards the end of this week. This is a moon in Virgo, which is great. Like any new moon, always carries this kind of opportunity to sow some new seeds, set some new intentions, grow some new opportunities, start some new beginnings, which is always great and exciting. And that doesn't change just because it's a supermoon. It still has the same energy as a new moon. With it being a supermoon, that just enhances the power. It just makes this one, you know, that extra little bit stronger, which is always nice. We'll take all the help we can get. With this moon being in Virgo, same things. We're still planting seeds. We're still setting some new intentions, you know, setting some new dreams into motion. The energy of Virgo is also telling us to be super, super practical, right? So you want to make sure you're organized when you're setting your intentions. Some of your intentions may be about getting organized. I will say with Mars being in retrograde, you also want to make sure that you are kind of taking a moment and breathing before you start setting these intentions, whether you're writing them out or speaking them or, you know, just kind of planning them before, you know, if you're doing a ritual for the new moon. So make sure you're taking a moment to pause and that these intentions aren't coming from this really, you know, highly reactive, possibly kind of angry space that Mars retrograde can kind of put some of us in. So make sure you're coming from the right place. It's kind of my big thing with that. Virgo new moon, Virgo new moon. One thing I would add, Virgo new moon, not only does it ask us to be super practical, this particular moon is also helping to bring our awareness to certain barriers we have. So where we've, I don't want to say held ourselves back, but in a way that's kind of true. But it's kind of where do we fall short? What's an area where we could improve? So this new moon can be about setting actionable steps to aid you in that particular journey. And again, it probably will depend a little bit where Virgo, what house Virgo sits in for you personally. So maybe something you want to look up as well. That may be an area where you can kind of like, okay, like let's say maybe Virgo for you sits in, well, I'll use myself as an example as a Cancer. So Cancers, Virgo, or Cancer risings, I should say. Cancer risings, Virgo sits in our third house. Cancer, Leo, Virgo, yes. So that's the house of communication, friends. It's essentially almost any way that we start to connect with the outside world, right? And it, you know, early education, things like that. So it could be, you know, how could I communicate more effectively? Where has my communication fallen short, right? And then setting up actionable steps for that. So if it's, you know, 10th house where it's career, right? What things can we do for that? Where have we maybe not been as motivated and taken as much action as we should? 11th house, friends, right? You know, what am I doing socially? How am I, you know, affecting my community? Which I will say that is also a thing that Virgo moon does. It's also a little kind of conscious about what can I do for others also. So that might be something that's coming up for you with this new moon. With that being said, let's kind of hop into the cards. I feel like now that I'm like on camera, I need to like talk more. It's a weird thing. Okay, let's do a shuffle. I haven't used these cards in a minute. It was so weird while I'm shuffling, while I was away, while I was on the Big Island. It was so weird how often I just wanted to like, I would think about, oh, I just want to use this deck, and then I'd be like, oh, that's right, I didn't bring it. So like I came back and I was like, oh my god, all my friends, hello, I missed you. Oh, all right. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for us concerning this new moon in Virgo? And remember, house rules still apply. As this is a general reading, take it as it resonates. There we go. As you know, as things fall out, you may resonate with a few cards, all the cards. If there's one that feels a little funny, doesn't really mean anything to you, that's fine. Just meant that message wasn't for you. Leave it on the table and take the rest. So we have full moon in Pisces, balance, spirituality, and practicality. There's that little word. Virgo's all about that. So for some of you, this may be just finding more balance. So wherever Virgo hits in your 12 houses, that area may be a little out of whack. Needs to be kind of reined in a little bit. And not that it needs to be stricter, but there just needs a little bit more structure there. How can we manage our time more wisely? How can we be more effective in this particular area of our life? We've kind of lost a little of the control, right? Balance. So it's about finding that harmony, finding that piece where everything kind of gets a share of the attention, everybody gets a little focus, and we're all working together. I mean, supermoon, hello, yes, we know. Prompt reads, emotions are running high. So remember, supermoon heightens the energy of this new moon, which is great, but it also heightens our emotional space. The moon, no matter what phase it's in, no matter where it is, the moon always governs our emotional states and the cycles our moods go through. So supermoon, yes, enhances the power of this new moon. Yes, heightens our emotional space, which is kind of already being triggered by Mars retrograde. So it is a sensitive place. So you will want to make sure that you are in a very nice balanced position, right? Before you start to set intentions, before you start to plan your intentions, because you want to make sure they're coming from the right place and really in alignment with your goals, and not, and not just kind of being flung willy-nilly or being created out of some, reactionary response, reactionary goodness. You'd think I was drinking, not yet. Full moon in Libra, a win-win outcome is forecast. Love it. I will say I actually love that Libra came out because of this Pisces full moon talking to balance. So again, it's kind of like a double confirmation about this need for balance and harmony and finding that kind of sweet middle ground. I will also kind of say with the full moons coming out, right, because there are two full moons, even though we're in a new moon, these full moons talk about the endings of something, right? We've reached the culmination, right? So the outcome is here, right? The balance is achieved, right? So as much as, we're planting seeds for this new beginning, as one cycle begins, something is also ending, right? To make room for it. So I would also say this new moon also gives you an opportunity to really tie up some loose ends. So what was all that work for? What was this whole lesson about? How are we applying that to the next set, to the next journey, to the next challenge? Who knows what's coming for us, right? And then mutable moon. Nothing is yet set in stone. Okay. So this feels more cautionary. It feels a little like mystic warning in a way, having this things aren't yet in stone, which can be kind of funny because we already had a win-win outcome is coming, right? So if it's not set in stone, how do we know this is happening? Now, I would say this is coming, right? Because what's yours is yours, no matter what. So this kind of is, to me, it is guaranteed. Now, with this kind of coming up, there's still elements in play that can maybe slow this thing down, maybe take you off course, and then you're going to have a harder time getting back on track. So to me, this does feel it's a little foreboding, it's a little ooky spooky, if I'm honest. But it will not take this away by any means. So I don't want to say, I don't want to say it and it's like, I'm not that kind of person anyway. But so no, this isn't taken away, because again, what's yours is yours, will always be yours no matter what. But it seems like there is an opportunity to kind of confuse yourself in a way. And again, this is because of that heightened emotional state all of us are in, whether it's because of the moon, whether it's because of Mars retrograde. It could also be that we are so tightly focused and so zeroed in on whatever these goals and desires are. Because again, Virgo, all about the details, all about that nitty-gritty. If you've ever watched any of my videos where I use the animal spirit cards and something like this comes up, I always compare this particular energy to the mouse, because it's such a tiny animal, so it's so close to all the inner workings and it can see all those little details that most of us we don't even notice, right? Because we're up here where the mouse is down here looking straight at all these little moving parts. So it could be for some of us that we're so focused in and so stuck and attached to all these little details that we miss the big picture, or we hold so tightly that it has to come this way, or it has to be this person, or it has to be this job. And honestly, you might be destined for something bigger and greater and grander, or even something you don't even expect. We'll see what comes out with the tarot, but it could be something you don't even expect and see coming, and you're closing yourself off to it because it only has to be this way. So the fact that this is the mutable moon, be willing to shift things, right? The details may be a little different than what you may be expecting. So be okay to give a wiggle room, right? So it's more this being willing to be open and be flexible, like our mutable signs, okay? Not being super rigid. So, and again, I feel like I've talked about this before, but it's our job to pick the end goal. We leave the details up to the universe, right? Okay. Let's get into some tarot. Oh, shout out to my friend Michelle. I'm sure you're watching. Love you, girl. Thank you for this morning. You are amazing. And because of you and that little post you sent me on Instagram, we're using Tarot of the Mermaids. And look at that, Emperor on the bottom of the deck as we have Mars retrograde. So he may be showing up a little bit later. But this one's for you, Michelle. I didn't realize how many people inspired today's reading. You guys are awesome. I love you guys. And I love you guys too. All right, first card out. Chariot. I love this. So Chariot, movement, forward progression, success. I think the greatest thing I get with the Chariot right now is all about this movement and moving on. We had those, thank you, we have these full moons that came out, kind of talking about the end and conclusion of some type of journey, some storyline we've been on. What is this? Justice in reverse. All right. So it could be dealing with a Cancer, could be dealing with a Leo. Justice in reverse. Justice is all about karma, right? It's the natural order. For some of us, it might be some legal things. I don't necessarily feel that, but for some of you, it might, remember. But justice in reverse. So, excuse me. To me, I think this is speaking more to where our lives and I almost want to say like our daily routines, our regular habits, our situations, our behaviors have become a little out of sorts. Even if you think about the state the world is in, we're all in, slightly wonky, different situations, no matter, how your town, your country, wherever you live is dealing with this pandemic. We've all had to adapt, right? So I think some of us, whether we found equilibrium and then it got a little disturbed again, or we've just kind of been taking it a day at a time and wobbly the whole time, doesn't really matter. But there is some need for some stability. Makes sense. That is what Virgo season is about, right? Being super practical, getting grounded again, sorting out all these little details, doing the checklist, ABC, 1, 2, 3, ... checking off all those tick marks. Plane. It's flying right now. Anyway, but that's what Virgo season is about. So again, as you're setting these new seeds of intention, make sure you've actually finished what you started out doing, right? So be aware of where... I'm gonna wait for this, hold on. Oh my god, now you get to see my weird faces every time a plane goes by. Bottom of the deck right now, actually, 7 of Cups. So confusion, being misled, feeling all... Oh god, this is a little overwhelming. This is the longest... but with this Libra Justice card coming up in reverse, 7 of Cups on the bottom of the deck. So there may be some confusion still about really what should the routine look like? What should the balance look like? Where does the balance even exist? Like where is it stable? Where is it wobbly? So I will say before we start setting some new intentions, make sure we've really kind of finished out these loose ends and kind of set this structure before we start, kind of jumping off the jumping off the diving board, whatever analogy I'm trying to make in my weird little sleep-deprived brain. Let's pull some more cards. I feel like I kind of know what I want to say. I'm gonna hold it in a little bit longer. Oop. Okay, we like that. 8 of Cups. Beautiful. So again, even though we're at a point with this new moon where we're setting new beginnings and it's asking us for practical about next steps, we also have to finish some things up. I kid you not. Okay, so we're just going to talk about it while we wait for a few more cards to come out. But there definitely is this need to really make sure you've finished everything. You've said what you needed to say, you've done what you needed to do. We need to make sure the structure is strong before we start trying to build on top of it. Because otherwise, we're going to end up repeating this lesson all over again. We had a whole bunch of cards that popped out just as I said that. So I will say, if I'm saying this and you feel like you're good, like, oh yeah, I've done that, I've been working on that, I know exactly what that is, I'm going to finish bam, 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 so that my new dreams can be bam, 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 bam. Great, do that. For those of you where you're like, I kind of know where that's going on, but I really have no idea what to do with that yet. Hi, that's this one over here. Still not a bad thing, but then I would say you want to make sure when you're doing these intentions, you also set some intentions about where you want to find stability, right? So, we'll go back to the example about communication, right? So how can I, where am I not communicating effectively? How can I communicate more? Am I aware of the message I'm sending? All those kind of things. So if you, kind of resonate and you know that there's an opportunity somewhere for you, set some intentions about, so, I want to be a clearer communicator. I'm going to be more effective, when I am managing my employees, when I am, organizing events with my friends, whatever it is. And again, apply it to your situation. But I would say if you're one of those who there's still some fine tuning, and again, that's not a bad thing, I would say make sure you set some intentions for that along with, these new seeds. And you can totally do both, right? We can totally work on closing out the cycle as we kind of plant the new seeds. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, it just kind of helps to make sure we're finishing out the old before we start to bring in the new, because we don't want to tangle the two and mix them all up. All right, let's see. So we've got the 2 of Cups popping in. Let's see what these two are. 10 of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So we kind of knew this 2 of Cups energy is floating around. It came up in yesterday's reading. We're going to do love readings coming up because this energy just can't be stopped. So we kind of know. So if this energy for this new moon, the intentions you're making, or even where your awareness has been on relationships, romantic or otherwise, definitely a big thing to really consider in the way where, yes, we want to set some new intentions for new relationships we're bringing in or strengthening existing bonds, but we also want to make sure we've done our own homework and see where we need to heal concerning relationships. How do we show up for our partners? How do we love and appreciate and respect ourselves, right? Because how we love ourselves is how we tell our other relationships to appreciate us, right? If we're saying we're not this, we're not that, we're blah da 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 da, that gives everyone else the right to do the same thing to us, and actually we're kind of inviting it, right? If that's how we see ourselves. So super aware that we've done that own kind of homework and that self-love piece first before we start bringing in this new love, because again, it's here. The win-win's already been guaranteed. It's here. It's coming. This person's already got your name on him or her. So don't worry about this being in jeopardy. But again, we need to be prepared for it, right? We need to be in the right space. So whether that's, having to leave old behaviors behind, to leave a current partner who, isn't right for us and it was just a karmic thing behind, if it's, again, sorting out how we love ourselves and how we feel about ourselves and our own self-talk, right? So that we can move forward, right, with this and get on this chariot and ride away into the sunset with this special someone, right? We have to do our homework first. And yes, with the 10 of Wands, it's been a burden, it's been hard. You've been working on it, which is great. I talked about it in the Timeless Tuesday, so if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. But I talked about now that Jupiter's direct, this whole self-discovery moment we've been on since May. Now we get our answers. So I know you've been doing the work here with this 10 of Wands. And, with the 10, it's time to let all that go, right? We've done the work, we've done the homework. Now we need to put it all together and apply it, again, to this next journey. And then here we have this Three of Pentacles in reverse, because things aren't going to come together. The pieces aren't going to fit until this is done. And here we are at the end, so this isn't far away. But again, it's layering on top of that, the need to kind of close out the old before we start setting some new intentions. So we need to make sure all of that old stuff is really processed and really sorted out before we continue on, okay? That, I wish I could, it's like it got like wedged in between a little dragon statue I have. Oh, look at that. 9 of Cups. Can you see it? Beautiful. So I did see it in reverse. I will say I'm actually not really connected to that, so which is why I flipped it over. But 9 of Cups is the wish being granted. For some of us it may be reversed, because if we don't, kind of what I talked about with this mutable moon, if we're so stuck to outcomes, if we can't be willing to kind of hand everything over to the universe and kind of like, you know what I want? Figure out how, you figure out the tracking and the shipping and all that. But this is what I'm placing an order for, right? So if we are still a little narrow-minded to that, that may slow this down, which is why it's coming up in reverse. But I do think for a majority of us, again, wish being granted, the good news coming in. But again, do not cling, stop it. Do not cling so tight. Bottom of the deck is the 5 of Swords. That conflict, that tension, that mental just arguing over it. And this is something I can personally relate to, and like the fear of losing it, because I didn't do enough, because I didn't try hard enough. I did the wrong thing. 5 came sliding out anyway, even though it was on the bottom. So again, big thing. King of Pentacles. All right, let's look at these two energies. So 5 of Swords, fighting, contest, battling, willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means cutting off your foot or cutting off your own head, and then you don't even get to see your prize, right? That's the energy kind of encompassed in this 5 of Swords, compared to this King of Pentacles, which is grounded and stable, incredibly confident, super well manifested, and also patient. He knows it's his. He knows it's coming to him. He knows he's worthy. He also knows that he, has built this himself, right? He knows he did this by his own strength, by his own power, not because he forced it. He didn't have to, bully anyone out of getting his prize. Like, he knew it was his. All he had to do was trust in the work and do what he felt was right, and he got there. Where this energy is much more frantic and panicky and reactionary, this one is planned and focused and dedicated and committed. So really think about the commitments you're making and what you're committed to. Are you committed to, brute force? Are you committed to, instead of being patient and listening to my intuition and listening to my guides, I'm just going to force it and I'm going to just make it happen and I'm going to just power through all of this and suffer all these burdens even though I don't have to? I could just sit on the side and do my own work and it'll come to me. I'm just going to barrel through? Or am I just going to know that I'm the king of this castle and what's mine is mine and sit here in peace with that knowledge? What are you going to do? Which I probably should have held it on this side, right? So you're gonna sit over here and argue, universe, or you're gonna sit and trust? What you want to do? What you want to do, boo-boo? Because this is that energy that doesn't want to go through the 8 of Cups, doesn't want to let it go, doesn't want to surrender, doesn't want to hand it over to the universe. It's going to happen my way, on my terms, on my plan. Never going to happen, boo. So if that's you, don't do that. Don't make yourself suffer more than you have to, right? Sit in knowing. Sit in knowing and trust that there's divine wisdom at work, that there's a plan much greater than you can imagine. There's a reason for all of this. And even if we don't know what that is, that was an interesting little jump you did there. Even if we don't know what that is, it doesn't mean it's not happening. Even if we don't see what it is, doesn't mean it's not coming. Thank you. Oh, we have another flipper. I see you in there. Yep. Okay, we're actually going to stop there. So King of Cups, sorry about the glare. King of Cups and the Judgment card. Love it. Rebirth. I don't know why I want to say reanimation. That's like reanimation. It's almost like we've come from the dead and we've been in this paused state, right? Motionless. And then we've just been reactivated. We woke up again. Reanimation. Very interesting. And then again, this King of Cups. Confident in our feelings, trusting our gut, listening to our intuition, honing and ruling our emotions, right? Not acting out of fear or panic or worry or sense of lack. Knowing that we are love. And since we are love, we attract love. Knowing we are worthy. Knowing we are loved. Knowing we are appreciated, right? And if we're not feeling that in the moment, surrounding us with the people who give us those feelings, our friends that care about us, that listen to us, that see us having and possessing value, right? So we can be reminded what that feeling is, remember? Because this King, all about feeling and that emotional heart space. And from there, then we get the knowing and the physical manifestations of that, right? So these two Kings, very linked in that kind of security and safety of the emotional space, and then using that to fuel and feed the external, right, all the physical things around us. So big message about feeling secure in yourself, especially the emotional body, right? And again, we're talking about, a moon phase. Of course, emotional body is going to come up, but it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. It's like just hiding in the. Oh. There it is. I knew it was coming. But even if you look at the cards, we have a lot of cups that popped up. So not only the King of Cups, we have the 8 of Cups earlier, we have the 9 of Cups, we have the 2 of Cups. So emotional space, big thing. Chariot, which is the sign for Cancer. So you may be a Cancer, you may be dealing or talking to a Cancer. Again, Libra also showed up. We had, the King of Cups, which is any of the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio. Oh my God, who am I blanking on? Stop it. Why am I blanking? Pisces. I'm so sorry, Pisces. Don't know what happened to me there. And then we also have the King of Pentacles. So we could be dealing with an earth sign. Virgo is a Virgo moon. Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. So we could be dealing with any of those energies. Doesn't have to be, but it could be. Just throwing it out there. So, do I want to get more cards? Not really. I kind of don't. But I will kind of close on this idea that what we're trying to manifest, especially if it has to do with relationships, and again, it doesn't have to be romantic. It totally could be, probably is, but it doesn't have to be. But if we're trying to manifest anything that's concerning relationships, rule number 1, we have to sort out all that internal stuff. All that pre-work needs to be done. So no matter where this is applied to, no matter where Virgo is in your chart, whatever facet of your wheel this full moon is affecting, the pre-work needs to be done. You need to have done your homework, my friends, and sort all of that out before you can even, physically receive any of these new blessings and these new beginnings, right? Now, if you're not there yet, that's fine. You can still set intentions for both. I want to have a stronger this. I want to be free of this. I want to experience this. I want to live this, so that I can create. You can list all these new beginnings, but definitely there is a strong need to finish out all of this self-work, and it feels that all the pre-work is about self. How have we healed our own wounds? How have we raised awareness on our opportunities where we can show up better or different, to manifest and be aligned with these new beginnings we're trying to create, right? Because you do co-create them, right? The fact that I said create blah 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 was not by chance. It's true. We co-create with the universe, right? Because everything has to match our vibration. So if we're, trying to manifest a 10 and still operating at 7, we've got some leveling up to do before that can come in, right? And that doesn't even mean you are a 7, right? You could be a 10, it's just having a low moment and you're kind of stuck at the 7 trying to climb your way back up. That's where that self-work and that self-love comes in to bring us back up to normal. That's where we hit the match, okay? So if that's you, if you've been feeling a little low, it's been, especially if what we're dealing with has to do with some type of emotional security. If we've been feeling that lack, if we've been feeling lost, if we've been feeling sad and emotional and moody and all those kind of things, we want to make sure we kind of sort that out. And I don't say that as a, oh great, I'm happy, and then you snap your fingers and everything, it's all gone. That's not how that works. But you do kind of have to accept the place you're in now. Realize that, you're not unique in that. There are other people who have gone through this journey before, are in it with you now, right? That feel the same way, are suffering the same pains. You're not being punished by any of this. It's kind of a part of the journey. So you can kind of accept, and it's one thing to, I think we all hear, and this is something I've struggled with, because you always hear you have to accept it, just accept it, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, but I don't want to accept this. I don't like this, right? So accepting doesn't mean I'm okay with feeling like crap. Oh, excuse me, my language. But, it doesn't mean this is a good feeling. I'm fine here. No. But it's kind of acknowledging, okay, this is part of the step. I don't like this. So what do I do to get out of this feeling? What do I do to move from this to here, right? I've talked about it before, especially if you're a Cancer and you've seen the Cancer videos I talk about all the time, where for some reason in my early life I had to learn things by being in a rough spot and figuring out I don't like this, right? I learned what I liked by finding out what I didn't like. And that, at times was very challenging and wasn't the greatest, but it does help you to learn, right? So you have to kind of accept the moment for what it is. If it's a lesson, great, it's a lesson. What do I not like about this? What do I do differently to not have any more of this? I want more of this, right? So that's what I mean when I say if you're not feeling the greatest right now, if I'm operating at a 7, I'm not really feeling this 7, okay, great, I'm a 7. What do I need to do to get to an 8? Great. Now what do I do to get to a 9? Awesome. Now what does a 10 look like, right? That's what I try to kind of get across when I say accept. It's not about being okay with where you are. It's literally just bringing acknowledgement to what's happening, what can we change, what needs to go, and how do we get closer to next, all right? Okay, with that, I'm getting a little warm. I'm going to get some water before I go into a sneezy fit. But I'm going to wrap up this meeting. See, going loopy. I'm going to wrap it up here. As always, thank you guys for all your support and your love. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks again for your patience, for the little switch up this week and not having videos last week. It means a lot to me, and I've had to kind of work on myself to give myself the time. So thank you for giving me the time as well. I love you guys. Take care. Enjoy this full moon. Enjoy this season coming up. Going to be excited. We're almost in Libra season. Libra season tends to be a little more fun, right? We get that little social boost from Libra. We're getting there. A few days away. We're getting there. But I love you guys. Take care. As always, I'd appreciate if you could drop a comment down below. Maybe if you have any rituals you're doing for the new moon, if we can share that with each other, that would be kind of exciting. I have no idea what I'm going to do for this new moon. I feel like I'm going to do a little more work with my crystals. Just because it's a Virgo moon, it's an Earth moon, so it makes sense. So I'd also recommend the same thing to you if you can bring that into your space, that Earth element, whether it's crystals, it could be just sand and dirt and rocks, it could be anything. Plants for some of you, if you are blessed with wonderful green thumbs. I'll probably be doing something like that, so we'll see, who knows. But yeah, if you have anything special you're doing for this new moon, drop it in the comments. If you're not already, please subscribe and join our crew. We get together every week and talk magic and wonderful things. But until next time, I love you guys. Take care. Love readings coming out soon. I have some plans in the afternoon. Hopefully they won't take too long and I'll be able to start filming some more videos tomorrow night. We'll see if I'm able to do them in the morning. My room can get a little hot and you do not want to see me sweating like a little pig. So we'll see about that. But yeah, coming soon. I love you guys. Take care. See you in your next video. Bye.